All right, good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. Let's go out. We're about an hour until the market close, so let's go take a look at the challenge, see what has to happen. Of our 50 stocks, zero signals out there right here this afternoon. There are some that have gotten into that close category, but just aren't there. From ConocoPhillips to JD to Pepsi, Target. Target close to a bearish signal, but not quite there. And just a lot of this type of stuff out there today in the market, like a Target. But anyway, it is what it is, and we're dealing with the market down about 6 points. Market vibe is actually pulled back 2 points here today, which I think has a little bit of meaning, but not too much here. Overall. But before we move on, let's just go do what we got to do with the challenge, right? This morning we entered Nike on the bearish signal, and this afternoon there's nothing to do. So we have cash, could get into another trade, but it's there is no signal to deal with, right? So let's go manage Nike. So here we have Nike, and I added a few columns in here just for some added visibility and some added information. Shows the entry price of the stock when it got in, trade entry price, number of contracts, price got in at, and the average true range on it, and then the exit stock level and the stock profit level, right? It also has the current price. Now, this isn't the price right here, right now. This is a delayed here from Google, but it's close enough, and Nike hasn't moved all that much right here. But you'll notice we're not at our exit level, right? We're not at our exit level. We're not at our profit level, so no decision to make. Just no decision to make here. No entry, no exit. If we look at the option value, I'll update that here. What is it, about $1.18? Is the option value here, so we can put that in. Current trade price $1.18 there, and can update that. But that's it. That's it. Did I get the right option there? April 85s. Yeah, I did. Okay. Let's see. All right. Nike, did it bump up here since I got on video? Yeah, it probably did. Yeah, it did. That's why. All right. Not near not near the exit, not near the stop. Nothing to do. Just nothing there to do with it. And great, easy decision, easy to move on. Now Nike, since we got in, Nike's rallied here a little bit. In fact, you kind of see the chart here today. We got the signal right down here. And, we got this rally come into Nike, and this happened as the market went down, right? And then, Nike's kind of hung out around this area the rest of the day. Is there some pinning going on with 85? Potentially, right? If we come in and we look at the options and we look and put the open interest here on them. Here we go. You can see the 85 level, not a whole lot to suggest pinning for tomorrow, right? But if we look at 85 for the monthlies, yeah, there's some pinning potential and pinning risk here with that. But that said, pin risk, all that kind of stuff, just doesn't come into play when it comes to the algorithm, when it comes to the trades. And there are a million other factors that we could add to it and whatnot. But, there's no value in adding another 8 to 10 factors. As another 8 to 10 factors just simply means, hey, you know what? We'll always have that mixed bag, always have those mixed signals and go. So you won't hear me applying my own personal thoughts and things like that to the trades, right? They are what they are. And I'm not going to sit here and hyper analyze it or second guess it or different things like that. Those of you who know me, I struggle with making I don't like making morning entries. I never really have. They're never all that they're never all that comfortable here to me, and this is one of the reasons, right? Because you can get it to look a little different by the close. That said, the algorithm is still showing the same signal here for Nike. So going to run with that here. Now a couple questions have come in. Since we've done a couple videos now with the challenge here. A couple questions on the exits. One of them dealing with what if we get into a day trade. So, for example, what if Nike hit a profit level today, this afternoon, and we had to exit some, and then tomorrow morning hit a profit level, had to exit some, and then tomorrow afternoon hit a profit level, had to exit some. Now there's 3 day trades, and you get flagged as a pattern day trader and all of that. And it's a valid concern. It is not something that I've ever seen happen. Been running tests with this algorithm for well over a year now, and I've never seen it trigger that much, where it actually pushes into a pattern day trader mode. Theoretically, it is possible, and it is something that could happen. If that happens, right, the live challenge account, would be tagged to pattern day trader as well, and would have that restriction. So, would have to kind of back off on trades until that reset the next week. And if that happens, we'll deal with it and go. It's not something that it's not something that's going to be very common. And it is something with a very easy fix if it does happen. So, it's not something that I am looking at to any major degree, other than to recognize as a possibility. The other question I got is what happens if the challenge doesn't work? The automatic challenge doesn't work and it goes to 0. Does that mean that the algorithms, that we're not going to use it and things like that? And the answer is absolutely no. I've had plenty of tests where they've gone and I've run it, it's gone to 0, and that's fine. That's part of the risk factor here with the challenge. Now, ideally, it would kind of show the upside here, but I'm not very concerned about where the challenge ends. I'm not very concerned about what the this challenge value is at the end. And I know that's going to sound kind of, maybe a little crazy, but what am I concerned with? I'm concerned with the steps. I'm concerned with the functionality, and if it's viable going forward to be able to stack on those gains, knowing that not every single one is going to, right? And so the answer is no. I mean, I know that's a risk. I know that's a possibility, and it's not something where you will see me tweak or change. I won't really evaluate it until it's done, right? Any test, you have to let the process happen, right? There's no value in getting in there and tweaking and meddling and all of that, on a day-to-day or hour-by-hour or week-to-week basis. You got to let the test run and go. Then you can step back, assess, and go. And that's what I plan to do here. With that. Okay. The other question was on the market vibe trades, what it would take to get into those. And that's very easy. The market vibe trades, it just needs a new signal with the market vibe. So right now the signal on the market vibe is neutral. Market vibe SPY puts. That's it. It just needs a trigger from neutral to bullish or neutral to bearish. Bearish to bullish or bullish to bearish, right? I'm not going to buy anything on a signal from bullish to neutral or bearish to neutral. But anyway, that's all it's going to take, right? That's all it will take for that to happen there. Okay, so pretty easy, pretty straightforward. All right. So anyway, that's it. That is it. And, hour after the market opens tomorrow, we'll do the same process with Nike. We'll take a look at the new triggers that are out there. If there's a trigger, we'll do that same process that we did this morning. Enter the trade, set it all up and go. All right. So anyway, there we are. Market here today. Now, been an interesting day in the market. Overall, we have seen, we've seen the market sell off here this morning. But like most morning sell-offs that we've seen, unlike most morning sell-offs that we've seen, we've seen the market kind of rally on back a little bit, or fail to rally on back a little bit. Most of the morning sells we've seen, the market's just kind of gravitated higher throughout the rest of the day. We haven't seen that here today, but I do think it's really interesting. This morning we had Guggenheim analysts come out and talk about how by even as early 2020, the market could be down 40 to 50%. We had another big strategist come out and warn about the market and how much the market could go down. We had some reputable big money players out there coming out with some pretty bearish warnings for the market. It's managed to push the market down, 5 points? 3 points where it sits right now. Those big, bad, bearish warnings, that's what the market's been able to sell. We just continue to see this market, bad news run off this market or fall off this market as if it's hitting Teflon, and the bad news just slides right on off. Each and every day we continue to see it, and that hasn't changed. That has continued here today, and there's no sign of that really letting on up here. As far as that news cycle, and that news cycle, remains very bullish, meaning good news gets bought, bad news gets, bought. It gets sold briefly and then bought up. And today's just another example. We have some damning commentaries out there from reputable firms and from firms or the type of commentaries that when we've seen those things before have catalyzed some strong market drops. And the market, this morning it had a 15-minute sell-off, and that's it. 15 minutes, dropped 8 points, and done. Done. But anyway, that's that's nothing new for the market. That's kind of the same old here for the market, and that's I did want to highlight that here today. We do have oil, which is down about $1 here this morning or today, but you can see the XLE. Not really down all that much. XLE holding in. That's generally not a time where you want to short energy. When you see oil down $1 and the XLE not selling off, generally it's just not the time to say, hey, let's go short energy. And it's a time to look for long trades on energy in the short run. So interesting area to keep an eye on. If you look at things like Halliburton here today, and kind of what it's doing, it's pretty flat, right? We've seen other energy stocks pull on back, but let's see here. It says Hal's not a valid ticker. Let's see. Here we go. But you can see pretty flat here today. Hovering 31. There's no new buy signal, no new sell signal, and that's what we're seeing in most of energy. Though it wouldn't take much of a sell-off to signal a downside signal or create a downside signal here with these energy names, but definitely not happening here today. Now, what we are seeing today is one of the bigger sell-offs that we've seen recently in gold, and gold, selling back on down here to this kind of 122 level, erasing this rally that it had off of this support, right? It had a nice little rally today, erasing much of that rally, lower highs. We're creating a very interesting kind of wedge pattern here, one that typically will break on down short run before running on higher. For me, I would love to trade gold for the challenge. I'd love to trade gold even for the test challenge. It's not something that's giving any kind of triggers. There are gold stocks in the watch list. The GLD itself is one of the only ETFs in the watch list, GLD and the SPY. But Rheingold or Barrick Gold now, GOLD is in the watch list here. You can see it, having a little pullback here. Ultimately, will they give some buy signal? Yeah, probably. Today I almost thought it would give a sell signal, but it didn't come into play, even though it has a lot of the principles. But the tendency of it isn't very strong right here. But when they trigger, we'll definitely be going after them here in the challenge, or hopefully be going after them in the challenge. Meaning we'll have cash to to go and run with those. But I do think this pullback simply creates opportunity. But like we've talked about with gold, long term very bullish. Short term, some consolidation to a little weakness, an area to, maybe start building positions, but not an area to start and, to get into short term options and say, well, it's going to go my way right here, right now, as it currently sits. Okay. So anyway, those are a few of the things going on out there. We do have bank earnings in the morning. In fact, if you come in here to Estimize, you can see exactly who's reporting. Generally on the first day, it's J.P. Morgan and Citigroup who generally report on the first day. Let's come in here to April 12th. But it's just going to be J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo. Citigroup is going to be next week, and on Monday, along with Goldman Sachs. And then on Tuesday, we should have Bank of America. Yeah, Bank of America coming into play. So, it pretty much just J.P. Morgan and Wells Fargo. But, Wells Fargo will be Wells Fargo, I don't think, will move the markets. I don't think what happens with Wells Fargo will have anything to do with the overall market. J.P. Morgan will. J.P. Morgan will, and banks have seen an interesting rally here today, kind of into the earnings, and is some of that a little bit of short covering. Sorry, the chart's not coming up here. Some of that a little short covering into it. It looks like it, but not uncommon to see these banks make a small move into earnings one way or the other. And no, there is no historical precedence to whether or not a rally into earnings means a gap up or a gap down. I totally understand that a rally into earnings, is typically read by people as somebody knows something. And then when it gaps on down, those theories go out the window. But with J.P. Morgan, I don't think we could be talking about anybody really knowing something here with that. Okay. So anyway, that's the market. That's kind of where things sit. Here going into the close, and it'll be a very interesting morning tomorrow morning. Seeing where some things open up at, and seeing how the market decides to trade. See if it wants to make that push into a new high sooner than later, or whether it wants to dip first and then rip back up into that new high. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a great one, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.